If you were to watch the 49ers defense without looking at any numbers, you would think that this is one of the 5 best defenses in the NFL. But then there are a few plays that they have that either they miss a tackle or they give up a big play, and that has cost them over the course of the first 4 games. So I want to break down everything that I'm seeing from this defense, why I think that they will end up in the top 10 by the time the season is over, and why it helps to have good players. All right, so the 49ers have actually given up the 8th most explosive running plays, and that's just because when you play man coverage, you can get out-gapped, and all the running back has to do is bounce it, and he gets a good gain. On a down-to-down basis, that's what really matters. The 49ers have been outstanding against the run, and it's because plays like this, thanks to D.J. Jones and Javon Kinlaw being able to hold at the point of attack and just not get moved off their spots. It also helps when you have Nick Bosa and Arik Armstead on the edge. So you'll see Bosa here. He just holds the point, doesn't really get moved. On the other side, Armstead beats his man, comes inside, and is able to make a tackle for a loss. And as you're watching this, notice because DJ Jones and Javon Kinlaw are able to hold at the point of attack, Azeez Al-Shaair and Fred Warner, they don't have to worry about an offensive lineman getting to them so they can run cleanly. And that is what makes this 49ers defense so good. So let's just watch the play here. Seattle's going to run duo, and duo is exactly what it sounds. You're going to get 2 double teams on the defensive tackles. Double team, because again, they hold their blocks. These guys are free. Armstead comes free because good players win their one-on-one battles. And it's a stop. That's how a lot of the running plays look for the 49ers. So DeMeco Ryans' early game plans have been excellent so far. On this play, they're going to run a hot coverage, so it's a fire zone blitz. What's going to happen is both linebackers are mugged up in the A-gap. By doing that, you mess with the protection rules for the offensive line, and you'll see how that enables Javon Kinlaw to be a free rusher here. So what we have is Dontae Johnson in the slot. He's playing quarters. He has a deep quarter. Dre Kirkpatrick on the outside. He has a deep quarter. Arik Armstead with a fire zone means you're going to blitz from one side and you're going to have one of your other rushers to the field usually drop off. Nobody ever complains when the edge rusher drops off and it's an incomplete pass. And what we're going to have here is Jaquiski Tartt. He's going to be the free safety. He has a deep half. Emmanuel Moseley is playing palms coverage, so he's just reading the number 2 receiver. If the number 2 receiver goes up and out, then he is going to jump that. If the number 2 receiver goes up, Tartt is going to take him, and then Moseley will get his eyes back to number 1, and he'll carry number 1. So they have numbers all around. Watch how it plays out, and then we're going to talk about it from the end zone angle. Moseley has been outstanding this year. He's been really good, and check out his physicality on this play to jar the ball loose. But again, he just gets good read, good jump. You see Ward comes off the edge, so Russell Wilson, he sees the blitzer off the edge. And in select for any quarterback, what you want to do, the best way to beat a blitz is just to replace the throw. So he throws it thinking that, Moseley's going to run off with this guy, but great call by Ryans to know Seattle's tendencies. Incomplete pass. So let's take a look at it from the end zone angle and how the 49ers are able to confuse the Seahawks here. So again, Armstead's going to drop off in coverage. Warner is going to be the underneath defender, and he's just looking for any crossing route coming back to him, whether number 2 over here is going to run an in cut because obviously Jimmie Ward's blitzing. And then Azeez Al-Shaair is going to do a really good job of taking the inside shoulder of the guard, forcing him to get his head on him. Javon Kinlaw comes free. Russell Wilson has to throw it sooner than he wants to, gets rid of his ball. So they're going to be in cover 1. So Jaquiski Tartt is the single high safety. He's a post safety. Going to just try to help anybody that goes deep. You have man coverage underneath across the board. So Dre Kirkpatrick, Azeez Al-Shaair, Jimmie Ward, Dontae Johnson, Emmanuel Moseley. You can do a lot of things on this defense, and you can run a lot of man coverage because of this player right here. Jimmie Ward, he can guard tight ends. He can guard wide receivers. You put him in front of him, he is going to eliminate them. I think very highly of this player right here. So it also helps when you have guys who can get after the quarterback, mainly these 2 on the edge. So this is the first sack. D Ford's going to just beat his man around the edge with a speed rush. What's going to happen is Fred Warner, A-gap pressure, and Azeez Al-Shaair is responsible for the running back, but he can either blitz when the running back stays in the block, or more often than not, especially this week and last week, with a mobile quarterback, he's just going to hug the line of scrimmage and see if the quarterback goes any direction. So let's run the play, and you can kind of see how everything turns out. It's really good coverage on the back end, which causes Wilson to hold the ball, and you can see Ford just come off the edge there. Sack. Let's watch it at the top here. Watch Drake or Patrick do a good job of getting his hands on Tyler Lockett to disrupt the ball, disrupt the route. That's where Wilson wants to go. He sees that his receiver is clamped. He has nowhere to go, and he has to sack, or he has to hold the ball for a sack. Ward being Ward. Just really good coverage all the way around. All right, let's go watch the end zone angle to see what it looks like in the box. Really tough to block these 4 up front, especially when they bring 5 and it's Warner. That means you get one-on-ones across the board. Somebody is going to win for the 49ers, and that's been a big theme so far this season. All right, I want to talk about Nick Bosa's sack, but before we get there, there was a play before that where, again, he is winning. He wins a ton. He is 10th in the NFL in win percentage according to PFF, and just watch how easily he gets around the corner, wins quickly, forces an errant throw, but that is nowhere near what you're going to see on this next play. I love this design for DeMeco Ryans right here. So what he does, he's going to blitz Dante Johnson off the edge. He's going to walk up Fred Warner, and D Ford is going to loop around. He's going to do a stunt with Eric Armstead. By doing all of this, everything that I just said, and even in this quote-unquote boss front, which means you have 3 defenders on one side and 1 defender on the other, by Fred Warner walking up, he makes sure the left guard has to account for him. By the left guard accounting for him, you leave this player one-on-one. When this player is one-on-one, he usually wins. Let's talk about the back half before we see what happens on the play. So deep third, I believe. So you have zone coverage here. He's going to be like the curl flat defender. And then Jaquiski Tartt's going to play the deep post, free safety. Jimmie Ward, he's going to be the robber. So he's going to try to take away any in-breaking route here. And we have man coverage to the bottom of the screen. You know, if they want to throw the deep ball outside the numbers, go for it with Emmanuel Moseley. And I mentioned he is the blitzer, so he's coming off. Fred Warner is actually going to drop into coverage, and he's going to take away any inside crosser because you're blitzing, and that's where the quarterback's probably going to want to throw if he sees pressure. So this is a team concept. Everybody does their job, and this is why Seattle had to punt on their first 5 possessions. So let's watch it play out. Warner does a good job of taking away the route underneath. Jimmie Ward always does a good job of finding work in case anybody else does anything. But as you can see, as you might imagine, the one-on-one on the defensive line just ensures Bosa gets there. And I just don't know what you're supposed to do there if you're Seattle. So this Bosa sack, I timed it anywhere between 2 seconds to 2.1 seconds. Again, not sure what the Seahawks are supposed to do here, but just notice how much ground that he covers in his first 3 steps. And it's not about 40 times. It's not about any of the other metrics. It's how much ground are you covering in your first few steps. And notice by the time Bosa gets to 1, 2, 3, he's already turning the corner, man. That is the definition of a special player. And then, of course, he does a good job of playing low, getting underneath the lineman's pads, and he's strong enough to turn the corner and open that play side shoulder. But the finish, the strength, the amount of ground that he covers in a matter of 2 seconds, man. Good luck, NFL. All right, we have another duo play from Seattle. So, again, they're going to need a double team on Maurice Hurst, who played really well, by the way, and another double team on D.J. Jones, who always plays well. There's been some talk on the interwebs this week that old number 54 is not playing well this season, and I could not disagree more. 3 plays earlier, Fred Warner actually hemmed up the tight end who Russell Wilson was trying to go to, and it was a sack. On this play, he comes unblocked thanks to the defensive tackles doing their job. And again, I just want to show this play to show you that on a down-to-down basis, this is what the 49ers run defense looks like. Defensive tackles do their job. Everybody holds up. Warner makes a play. Run it back. So he actually split. Maurice Hurst is going to be really good, by the way. He splits the double team there. DJ Jones just does a good job of playing low, sinks. But by doing this, all of their defensive tackles play the run really well, which is probably credit to Chris Kosaric and coaching his guys up. But Fred Warner ends up, chasing, making the play, which is something he does every game. But again, just more sound defense from the 49ers. All right, it's third down. And again, DeMeco Ryans doesn't care if you know what he's going to do. He's going to play man coverage underneath. He's going to have a single high safety. He's probably going to blitz a linebacker. You are probably going to have to keep a running back in, which means they're going to have somebody to also hug the line of scrimmage. And Russell Wilson's already been hit 3 times. He's been sacked a couple times. When that's in the quarterback's head and you get early pressure, he's going to want to get rid of the ball quickly. This guy has been really impressive so far through 2 games. So Emmanuel Moseley, I believe he was targeted 7 times, only gave up 3 catches. This is a third down play against DK Metcalf. Just watch how he's physical with him. Gets his hands on, is able to disrupt the route. I really like him and how he's playing so far. He has another challenge this week against DeAndre Hopkins. You'll see it from this angle. Just the pressure that they force up front is always going to play in the quarterback's head, and he's going to want to get rid of the ball quickly. Kudos to Emmanuel Moseley for just being disruptive, man. And this is why playing defense sucks in the NFL, because you can do everything right all game, all series, all drive, and all it takes is one mistake, and that's how Seattle was able to move the ball and just kind of get in the end zone, at least on this drive. So again, they're going to play man coverage across the board. What happens here is Emmanuel Moseley is going to get picked off by Jimmie Ward. So you'll see them bump shoulders and collide, and because of that, he's a step behind DK Metcalf, and that's all it takes to complete the pass on this play. So check it out. Ward goes in motion right there. He picks off his own player, and that's enough separation for DK Metcalf. So I'll rewind it here, and you can just watch Moseley and watch how his shoulder kind of turns right there. That's tough. And one of the reasons that I think the 49ers did work out Michael Kendricks, just because on this play, you can see as he comes into the box here, 36, Marcel Harris. He has bad eyes. His eyes get caught in the backfield. To be fair, the tight end is blocking and does a good job of selling the run fake, but there are a few occasions where Marcel Harris was out of position. Eyes are in the backfield, so that should be a big play. Either way, Moseley, it's on Moseley, but Harris has to be better there. All right, this doesn't really have anything to do with DeMeco Ryans. This is more of the Niners just having really freaking good players. And it starts with, who else? Number 97. So the Seahawks are going to run just zone weak right here. Bosa's going to come inside. He's going to win inside and end up making Dwayne Brown do the splits, which is pretty funny once we get there. So he comes inside. Bosa's responsible for this gap. Jimmie Ward is going to fill, and he has this gap right here. And Chris Carson is going to have to bounce it to Emmanuel Moseley. So they have a person ready for the C gap. They have Emmanuel Moseley, who's a force player who beats DK Metcalf. All of this works, but let's just watch what Bosa does to Dwayne Brown. Beats him pretty badly, and right there, they have numbers. Tackle for loss. Again, this is how they look on most downs. This is why the 49ers are so tough to not only run the ball against, throw the ball against, move the ball on a down-to-down basis. So I just want to show it one more time. That's tough. He is doing a push-up position right now because he was beaten so badly. He makes everybody look silly, and we are only 4 games in, and I think he is going to be better than we actually thought, which is pretty crazy to say. But number 1 ain't bad either, and number 4 is playing well as well. So when we're looking at the 49ers run defensive numbers, these plays go against them. So we know one of the big issues with playing man coverage when you have a scrambling quarterback, when you have a quarterback who can run, is if he breaks the pocket, there's nobody for contain. As soon as Eric Armstead goes inside here, that's pretty much all she wrote. And there's nobody on the edge to keep Wilson from bouncing out here. He is the low hole defender. He is quote-unquote free. I don't like how Azeez Al-Shaair chases the running back here. Since he's one-on-one with Fred Warner, he needs to know that Russell Wilson is a much bigger threat in this scenario. Just watch how it plays out. So Armstead goes inside. Al-Shaair goes to the edge. Kinlaw gives great effort and great chase there, but it's just way too little too late. Those are the mistakes that can happen, which sucks just because they've played so well up until this point. But again, one mistake, two mistakes, you just can't make those, especially against a quarterback of this caliber. So there's been 2 mistakes so far, and this is the third one. This one is killer. The 49ers get a free runner, Dante Johnson, at Russell Wilson. All he has to do is tackle the quarterback. He does not. Russell Wilson goes Houdini, makes a Russell Wilson type of play, touchdown. 3 mistakes. And that's the difference of in Seattle putting points on the board. Bosa wins again, but it doesn't matter. Critical missed tackle right there. So it's easy to remember those mistakes. It's easy to remember why Seattle scored. But again, these down-to-down plays that the 49ers are making essentially every drive are why I think that they'll be just fine on the defensive side of the ball. So Seattle's going to, again, run zone weak. Kinlaw wins. Hurst wins. Bosa holds up his guy. Hurst wins so quickly that the linebacker can't climb to Alshire, so he has a free run. They have dudes. They have guys who win one-on-ones, and that's why the 49ers are able to make plays in the backfield so often. A lot of it is because running at 97, not smart. Just watch it one more time. Really good team defense right there. There's been a theme in this game. There's a theme against the Packers. There's a theme against the Eagles. There's a theme against the Lions. That theme, 97, good at football. Just watch this play. He beats 3 guys. And how do you game plan for that? 1, 2, 3, in the backfield, forces an errant throw. Because of that, the 49ers will be fine. They have 11 good players on the football field, which helps. But there's not much you can do against a player that is constantly winning. I mentioned his win percentage is 10th in the NFL. It's against guys like Chandler Jones, Aaron Donald, or it's in the same line. It's the same rankings as those guys. He is already one of the best players in the NFL. And the 49ers missed him dearly last year. Really nice to have him back. And that's why I keep going back to the reason that this team will be fine, especially on defense, is because good old number 97 right there. Looking forward to seeing what he can do this week.